And a good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Dave Turley here with an update on what's going on with Hurricane Michael and the impacts on our area. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the latest is right now. And this is going to be from the 2 p.m. intermediate advisory. Movement to the north at 12. We got winds still at 110 miles per hour. So it's on that Category 3 threshold right now, which is 111 miles per hour or more. And this is expected to strengthen into a Category 3 hurricane later on today and continue to make its way towards the Florida Panhandle, very close to Panama City, it looks like, sometime late tomorrow morning around noontime, and then continue to move on inland. That'll be a Category 3 hurricane. Look at the tropical storm force winds in yellow. Well away from the center. That outlined red area, that is where the hurricane force winds extend out. So we don't expect hurricane force winds in our area, but as you see, heading into Wednesday at 7 p.m., still a hurricane, but transitioning from that hurricane into a tropical storm as it's moving over Georgia, especially early on Thursday. You see by Thursday at 8 o'clock, it's somewhere near the Augusta area, it looks like, as the tropical storm winds are sweeping through the region. And I do think we're going to see a widespread tropical storm winds across the area, and that'll be the main concern, as some of those tropical storm winds could certainly produce some power outages due to downed trees. So let's give you what we have out there right now. Michael is starting to show some of the outer bands out here on radar. Again, that's why we can see the clouds. That comes from satellite in space. We can see everywhere into the country what's going on with the clouds, but the radar comes from land, so that's why we're just starting to see what's on the east and northeast side of that system. But trust me, it is raining all around that system. Storm itself is still about 540 miles or so to the south and west of the Savannah area and continuing to make its way, again, closer to the coastline of Florida by tomorrow. So based on that, we are going to see impacts from Michael coming up here, especially Thursday. What you need to do now is be aware of that and have your disaster supply kits ready at your house. Now, we're talking about there is going to be extra batteries, extra flashlights, candles if you need it. Really more for if the power goes out, to make sure that you are prepared for that. So bottled water, make sure you have non-perishable foods is a good idea, and make sure you have all your electronics charged up and ready to go. And if you can, if you have the means, you have something that can charge your electronics even when your power goes out, an extra power supply there. Bring in all your outdoor furniture. Secure anything around your house which could become a projectile, especially those Halloween decorations. Many of us already have them out, and then now would be a good time to go ahead and get ready and bring those inside. And download the WTOC First Alert weather app and make sure those alerts are turned on, as we do have at least a slight chance for seeing some isolated tornadoes being on the east and northeast side of that system. So here's the impacts, what we expect. Starting late Wednesday in our far southwestern areas, most of us will be more of a Thursday morning, early afternoon event coming up. 2 to 4 inches of rain, widespread possible across the region, with locally higher amounts certainly possible, especially depending on how these rain bands are going to be setting up. So we'll be tracking that. We don't expect a lot of widespread flooding concerns, but certainly some locally heavier rain could produce some localized flooding in poor drainage areas and low-lying regions, which typically flood in a heavy rain event. Now, the wind gusts, we're looking at gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour. Sustained winds, probably more of a 25 to 35 miles per hour in the sustained area, but certainly going to see some of those higher gusts, and that isolated tornado risk is certainly going to be there. So possible power outages are going to be the main concern as Michael moves through the area. We just want you to make sure that you are aware of that and make sure you have a way to keep getting updates here if your power does go out. So that'll be the main threat we're looking at, is the gusty winds. Again, flooding rain at 2 out of 5. We're not expecting widespread heavy rain. Most of us are still seeing drought conditions, so we could use this rain. It's actually beneficial rains for the area. Coastal flooding at the times of high tide, that'll be the concern coming up, especially as we head into a Wednesday and into the Thursday morning high tide. We'll show you those coming up in just a second. And again, a 2 out of 5 as far as the tornado risk across the area. Let's get into the wind gusts out there. This is one computer model, the GFS computer model, showing us what we're looking at as far as some wind gust probabilities out there. Not much going on through Wednesday. We're looking at generally 15 to 20 mile per hour wind gusts, and then eventually increasing. Could see some 30 mile per hour wind gusts coming up for Wednesday. Now, overnight Wednesday, this goes through Thursday right now at midnight. So we start here at midnight. Notice we're getting some of the purple showing up here. That's as Michael's getting closer, starting to get some of the wind gusts in there. And then overnight through 7 a.m. on Thursday morning, we get some winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour and maybe even higher in some areas, especially where we get some of those heavier rain bands, which could tap some of the stronger winds aloft and bring it down to the surface. We can see some of the strongest wind gusts in those heavy rain bands. But a general rule by Thursday at noontime, notice how we're getting lesser winds in our southern areas as Michael starts to pull away from the region. Still looking at a 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gust in here through noontime. But by 6 o'clock, most of us, especially in our Georgia areas, really starting to see the winds calm down. And I think we're all pretty much in the clear by Thursday night. And by Friday, we're looking much better across the area. So the tides, we're going to high tide coming up tonight. It's expected to be above the predicted astronomical value with the influence of these easterly winds which we've been seeing, this long fetch of easterly winds. We can see the tide getting up to about 9.5 feet, so coastal flooding is going to be possible at the evening high tide. And then also coming up here on Wednesday, 9:37 is predicted high tide about 9.4 feet, 9:52 on Wednesday evening at 8.7 feet, and then the Thursday morning high tide will be the last one we're probably concerned about, as once the storm moves through, it's more of an offshore flow of the wind, so that should bring the tides a little bit lower as we move on into our weekend. So that's a look at the rain chances out there as far as the tides go. 1 to 3 inches of rain right now with locally higher amounts certainly going to be possible. Inland could see a little bit more, 2 to 4 as they're closer to the center, but that's 2 to 4 plus. We could easily see more than 4 inches if we get any of that rain bands kind of over our training area, what we call that, moving over the same areas like the boxcars of a train. That could certainly produce some higher amounts, but localized in nature. So again, we're not too concerned about the flooding in here. Coastal flooding could be a concern at the high tides. Right now, there is that coastal flood advisory we talked about going through your evening high tides tonight. There's a flash flood watch, which includes Toombs, Montgomery, Emmanuel County westward, closer to the center, where they expect more heavier rain and higher rain totals across central areas of Georgia. But you notice we don't have any flash flood watches in effect for our viewing area for most of us, except for those 3 counties I just talked about there. So if you got questions or comments, go to our WTOC Facebook page. I'm going to go check those out right now and see if we have anybody who has any questions out there. I'm going to answer some of these questions. If not, I'll try to get back to it when this Weather Now is over. And let's see what we got out here. We got some questions out there. We got some people joining in. What's going on with Chatham County Schools that Nisha wants to know? Don't know. We don't have anything to do with the Chatham County Schools. If there are any closings or cancellations, of course, we will have them on our WTOC website, so you can go ahead over there and keep checking back. But again, we have no control over what is closed or what stays open. Let's see. Any chance for base closure again, Ozzy? I don't know. I cannot answer that for you. Raining hard in Baxley now. Sue, that's got nothing to do with Michael. We got scattered storms and showers in the forecast. We had that yesterday. Going to see that today, and we'll see more of that coming up for tomorrow before we get the effects really more from Michael coming up late Wednesday and especially into our Thursday. Thanks for bringing us the map so we could see Brunswick, Georgia. You are welcome, Clarissa. Let's see what's going on. Call your school system. They can tell you quicker. There you go. And hello to you, Eric. You're welcome for the updates. Jamie says there's a press conference coming up at 3 o'clock. Yeah, we'll have the latest for you of what comes from those press conferences throughout the afternoon, of course, on WTOC.com. Hello to you, Hank. Thanks for joining. Hello, Jessica. And Julianne wants to know about Guyton. Again, scattered showers coming up the next couple of days. I think the steadiest chance for showers for Guyton area will be coming up on Thursday morning. We could see winds gusting 40 to 60 miles per hour for your area, so power outages will be the main concern for your region. Hello to you, Paul, in Bluffton. More for you, too. You're looking at probably getting winds gusting between 40 to 50, maybe 55 miles per hour. With a general 1 to 3 inches of rain moving into the Bluffton area. And again, that would be more of a Thursday event for your area. You're welcome, Jeremy. Thanks for joining us. And I'm doing great, Kathy. Thank you for asking. And again, if you're asking about schools, I don't know. I cannot answer them. Sorry about that. You have to go to your local school districts, or once they contact us, we'll have all that information for you at WTOC.com. And Tashina wants to know, should we be worried like Matthew? This is a totally different storm than Matthew. Matthew came up at the coast as a hurricane. This one's more of a backdoor storm, so we're not concerned about the flooding event, the coastal storm surge, which we had with Matthew. But there was widespread tropical storms, winds across the area, and that did a lot of tree damage, a lot of power outages with Matthew, and that'll be the concern with this system. So that's where some of the similarities are with the extent of tropical storm wind gusts expected across the area. So that's about all the comparisons you can make from Matthew and Michael. I would be prepared for your personal safety. Copy of your, I'm not sure what the DEC page is, but get extra meds and pet safety too. It's also a very good idea for that in case your power goes out. We're not looking at hopefully widespread power outages, but certainly sporadic power outages can certainly be a concern coming up here late Wednesday and especially more for Thursday. Thank you, Amanda. We're talking about Joanna wants to know, what about Beaufort County for possible flooding? Again, if you're in areas which near the tides, which could flood in the high tide event, the next couple of high tide cycles through Thursday morning, you could see some coastal flooding there. But as far as flooding coming from rain water, we don't really expect general flooding for those areas. Thanks, Tiffany, for the nice words out there. And Cabrina, thank you very much. And Michelle wants to know, will Hilton Head Island be affected? You will be impacted with some gusty winds. You're going to have some rain showers on and off throughout the morning hours and afternoon hours on Thursday especially. And you could see some flooding even at the times of high tide with some coastal beach erosion maybe there as well coming up into Thursday. So those are the questions. There's a lot more out there, but we got to wind this down. We got to get ready for meetings that we have out there. If you have any more questions or comments, you go to our WTOC First Alert Weather app. If we pull that up, we have a new video posted out there. I posted that not too long ago. We have other videos that you can see out there, and that's going to give you more of the latest information. You see we have all the watches out there, hurricane statements at the top of the page, and if you slide on down there, that live radar is available to see where those rain showers are and how they're going to be impacting you. Also, if you go to our Hurricane Center page at WTOC.com, that's got a lot more useful information. We're going to be here with you throughout the storm to make sure you are informed now and prepared before Michael starts to impact our area, especially on Thursday. Have yourself a great Tuesday. We'll be live coming up here starting on V News at 4. See you then.